Are you an artist or art student who never stops hearing the lines,
"Let's go out and get a real job"?
or are you someone who's already been working in the industry only to still be told by others that
your career isn't valid?
Well, bitches, this video is for you. Hello bitches, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Michelle. I am currently a storyboard artist in the animation industry, and I also make comics on Instagram, so you can check it out in the links below. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing how I make money as an artist, especially in this year of 2020. And I know I made an older video last year about the same topic, but you know, some things just need some updating. To list an order of all the things that I use to help me make money actively and passively, they're going to be here. So to start off from this list, my main job is actually as a storyboard artist working in the animation industry, and I have been a storyboard artist for about the past 2.5 years, and while that is definitely not a veteran level experience, I feel like I've had just a good enough amount of experience to still be able to have some relatability for anyone who's still trying to transition into that field or is still a student looking to getting into animation as a career. So that's why I feel like I have some knowledge so far in the industry, but I'm not too far away from that time where I was also once a student. So working in the animation industry is usually unknown territory for most people, which is understandable because I didn't remember hearing about the animation field in middle school or high school. It's something that you can really only learn more about if you do further researching online, but after working in the industry for about 2.5 years, I can at least say from my experience that working in the industry has not been that unstable, because I feel like normally a lot of people assume that a creative field is risky and has a lot of instability, but it's hasn't really been that way for me so far. Maybe it might be luck, maybe it might be chance, but for most people I know as well, the first gig you get will probably be the hardest one when you don't have any connections in the industry, but after your first job is usually when things start to get a little bit easier in terms of jumping from project to project. Another thing you should know is that when you join a studio, especially within Los Angeles, normally they should be unionized, which means they guarantee your rights as an artist and they ensure you get paid the fair amount you're supposed to get paid. Every time you reach a certain milestone of working a certain amount in the animation industry, you're guaranteed a certain pay raise. And as a story artist, there is something called the journeyman salary, where after you've worked here for X amount of time, and once again from my experience, after reaching that journeyman amount, I've been living life comfortably. I'm not like a billionaire, but I definitely am able to pay the bills, feed myself, go on vacation, and do things like any other person working any other job. Another thing you should know about the animation industry is every time you jump from project to project, you have that ability to ask for a higher raise the next time. And that's another way of negotiating your pay so that you can get paid your fair amount, because every time you join from a different studio, you have new experiences, new skill sets, you have more things to offer. So every time you receive a new offer for a new project, you're able to bump up that pay rate, and you know, that really helps a lot too. So that's pretty much how I make money through my main job as a storyboard artist. It's kind of honestly like a regular 9-to-5 minus that negative connotation that a lot of people attach to 9-to-5s. And usually through those jobs, your salary is on a weekly basis, not a yearly basis, from my experience. And in addition to that, you do get benefits, especially if you're working through the union. So some of the money you make goes into your healthcare benefits or your 401k, etc. And because I know people just want to know the truth of how much you make as a storyboard artist working in a unionized studio, once you pass that journeyman timestamp, you are pretty much making a 6-figure salary. Also, just saying, this is relevant to now in 2020. I don't know what the future holds or if things are going to change for the worse, so I can only speak for what I know right now. So my second main source of income right now is through publishing a book. For those of you who don't know, I am currently in the middle of publishing my very first graphic novel. I recently got a 2-book deal with Penguin Random House Knopf. I still don't know how to pronounce that name to this day, but we're gonna work on that. So basically when you publish a book, after you got the agent and publisher figured out and you work out your deal and your deal gets accepted, you get an advance after you sign a contract. The advance is normally a huge lump sum of money that the publishing company will give to you after you sign your life away to them. After your advance, the way that you get paid is through milestones, where every time you get some part of your book done, like your rough draft, your clean art, your colored art, you will get paid another lump sum of money for every time you accomplish one step of the journey. So let's say even if your book deal was about $150,000, you're not getting that $150,000 up front. Instead, you're going to be getting paid in segments that will eventually equal to that $150,000 minus the amount of commission that you're going to have to give to your agent. The good thing about having an agent is normally they understand everything about the language and steps of this process, whereas you might not be as aware of it. And even though if they take a commission of what you make, I think it's ultimately for the better, because hey, they're really helping you navigate throughout this journey, and they're usually helping you get the most you can out of the publishing company. So they're gonna be fighting the most for you, and more money for you is more money for them, and I want my agent to get paid fairly too. So yeah, it's a win-win. Then after your book gets released into the world, you will be getting paid in royalties. I think every publishing company might be different, but I wouldn't be surprised if most of them followed this format. So I would say that working as a storyboard artist and publishing a book together are really my main major forms of income, where these are the things allowing me to live my life, feed myself, pay the bills, and even live a little bit above my means. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a billionaire balling around in money all day every day, but I can still afford a vacation now and then. I can buy something nice for myself, and I'm not saying this to flaunt. I'm just wanting to say this to give people who have the wrong perception of art. I want them to understand that, having a career in art can allow you to live a nice normal life. So moving on to things that are more on the passive side, like yes, I still have to put some amount of work into these things, but these are kind of more managed by me. So my third source of income is probably my merch and Etsy shop. Now, I wouldn't say that my merch and Etsy shop are my main source of income. They are more of a supplemental source of income, just simply because I'm not at a place right now where I really want to dedicate my whole life to it. I feel like I have a career in animation that I want to tend to first. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what would become of my merch and Etsy shop, but for now I would just count it as supplemental income, which means that I don't think that this stuff would really pay the rent, pay the bills, pay the really big things you have to pay for per month, but it is nice to have as a backup, because as the years go on, the amount you make will just snowball, and it's good to just have that extra backup money in case of an emergency, or if you just want to treat yourself to something nice that month. It's just good to have so that you don't always have to 100% rely on your main job's income. So the three main things that I sell on my Etsy shop are just pins, stickers, apparels and accessories, and sometimes books. So I used to self-publish my Succubushes book and just place it on my Etsy shop for people to purchase, but I feel like as of lately I've just been too busy to really be managing that stuff. But that was once something that I would put up on my shop, and the way that I got it was through self-publishing, and then I myself would redistribute it because I get to sign all the books and have that little personal moment with you all. And then regarding pins, stickers, things like charms, you normally have to do a little bit of more research yourself, which is a few Google searches, learning about what companies are good or bad. Other people out there have experience in this too, so you can reach out to them. So So basically you would have to reach out to a manufacturer, usually it might be from China, and you would just send them your design and they would help you produce your goods, and then you place it back on your shop. So that's kind of how it works for those, and I fulfill those shipments myself. And again, I find that relaxing. I find it fun. Some people might not, but I feel like I only say it now because I still keep it as a hobby and it's not my full-time job where I have to mail out like 1,000 packages a day. But then in terms of my apparel or things that you might see that are like clothing, bags or hats, things like that, I work with a company called Printful. Well, I don't really work with them, I just utilize their service where they help, you know, fulfill these things for me, because I myself cannot get a shirt and screen print my drawing on it. But this company offers that service, and basically it works the same way as I just explained my other things, except I don't have to be the one to ship it out and fulfill that stuff. I just have to worry about placing my designs on their products and making sure that it looks good. And the reason why I chose Printful for now, at least, is because they just tend to have more of the better quality feeling products just from my experiences. But that's not to say that I would never try a different place. It's just one of the places that have really been helping me so far, and I haven't really had any issues yet. So again, I would say my merch and Etsy shop are just good forms of supplemental income, but I would also say that one thing that is important when it comes to these side hustles that you choose to embark on for yourself and your own art is that to some degree, I do think you need some level of traffic to your art page or your main like platform that you post your art or yourself or whatever it is you make, because you need customers. So if I were just an artist and I did not have a following of any sort, I feel like there would be a lot more difficulty in promoting my goods or having a reason for people to even want to purchase things like that. So I would say before you even start an Etsy shop or some of the things I'm about to speak about as well, it's good to just first invest in yourself. Do what it is to really hone in on your craft and have an audience for your work who believes in you and loves the things you do too. So now my fourth source of income is now my YouTube channel. Last year, I wouldn't really say that YouTube was a source of income for me because it was very random. I wasn't really taking it too seriously until I felt like I wanted to. As of lately, I've been taking it a little bit more seriously, so now I feel like YouTube is definitely one of the sources of income. So that and my Etsy shop together really helps make a good amount of money together. Again, I don't know if I would be able to just survive on YouTube and Etsy alone. These two things are just my hobbies and are great sources of supplemental income where over time when they snowball up together, I'll be thankful I did it. So most of you probably already know, but most YouTubers make their money through AdSense and sponsorships or affiliate links and whatnot, and I am not really that different from that. Again, I don't know what the future holds or if I would ever want to make it like my only full-time thing. Right now, again, I'm just having fun with it. So then my fifth source of income is probably my Patreon, and I would probably say that I could put more love and care into my Patreon, but again, the thing is, I'm honestly spreading myself too thin with all of these things that it's impossible for me to really put in 100% of myself in everything, especially when you're already working a full-time job and a side project that's kind of your second full-time job. So I would say my Patreon right now is like, I feel so bad, but what I do right now is I only have a $1 tier that hasn't changed from what I said about it last year. And the reason why I only keep it as a $1 tier is because I can really only guarantee early access to things or very simple things to post that don't require me to make something new out of scratch, because that's really putting more additional work on top of everything else that I just listed. But because I don't really put all of myself into it, in which I'm aware of, I only make it a $1 tier for any of those who just want that early access or sometimes want a glimpse of my personal status in life. And yeah, if you have any ideas of like what you want me to do with my Patreon that would not require me to really draw something new, make a new project, or take too much time, let me know your thoughts and suggestions, because I'm trying to find ways to make more use of my Patreon without killing myself. Then my sixth source of income is my Gumroad, which honestly I really don't do anything with it nowadays. It's just there, which makes it very passive in that sense. So basically, I said this in my previous video as well, but when I was back in CalArts, I also was just your typical average college student who's just trying to feed herself and trying to get through life and not have to rely on anyone for financial reasons. So I opened up a Gumroad where basically after I posted a sketchbook tour, I would then post my sketchbooks, the scanned full quality version of each page on Gumroad. I would do hundreds of scans over like a weekend, then post it on Gumroad for anyone who just wanted to take their time looking at my sketchbook, studying it, even though there's really like, it's just not really anything to really study for, but if you want to look at it, like, it's there. So I would just make sketchbooks like somewhere around $3 to $10 depending on how many pages or how much effort I put into it. And the thing is, again, if you have a large community who already is following you or knows of your work, you can also redirect them to your Gumroad, and if they want to purchase your work, then great. But again, it's going to be more difficult to really sell things when you don't have a pre-existing community or group of supporters or followers that would even want to purchase it in the first place. But sometimes if you really don't have anywhere to start, if you have friends or family on Facebook, you can start with a Facebook group and start it from there. I personally have not done that yet just because I'm just like, I feel like my Facebook is just purely for like family and friends and not my business side, so I don't really do that stuff there. But I do know of people who start promoting their work through their more immediate close family and friends, which I think is a great way to start too. And now moving on to more commission-based forms of income, I would say that my merch, YouTube, Patreon, and Gumroad are definitely more consistent, constant background supplemental forms of income. Like every month I can guarantee some sort of income from those platforms. But what I'm about to talk about next are things that are very sporadic, where there's no guarantee when these will happen or how many times a year this will happen. But what I can say is that they do at least happen a few times a year, but they don't have any consistent form of payment or anything like that because they are commission based. So one of the first ones that you all know is sponsorships, which a lot of YouTubers and Instagrammers do. I usually did a lot of Instagram stories for companies like Skillshare, and those were always very easy to make because they don't require you to draw new things. You can use pre-existing things like your speed paints or art to just simply promote their stuff online. And then sometimes on YouTube I would also receive sponsorships as well, but the amount of times that they happen throughout the year, again, are not guaranteed. It's just kind of as the companies see you fit for their campaigns. Another way I've recently been getting paid, starting late last year to early this year, is just from doing speaking events, panels, or like lectures for classes or clubs from universities. And I actually started doing this voluntarily when I was invited to do so. I've always just wanted opportunities to meet you all in real life, and that's actually how I received those opportunities most of the time, was through my Instagram DMs. So some things like conventions or online events that I appear on, I actually do get paid a commission from those for attending, because it kind of is like I'm doing work for the company that is hosting that panel or event. And again, these things are not guaranteed every year, every month, or whatever. They kind of just happen as they happen. And I have had experiences where I did get reimbursed for my travel, and in addition to that, they paid for my time there as well, which was really nice. But I wouldn't be closed off to just doing these things voluntarily and for free for as long as my time allows. Second to last, this isn't really a major form of income at all, but once again, it's just sporadic and it's just nice to have in the background. But it's just affiliate links through brands that I work with, especially on this channel. Normally I work with just art brands or office related brands, or things that kind of just are relevant to my interests and whatnot in life. So I would normally just use their product in my, I don't know, video, and basically anytime someone sees it and they want to buy it too and they click the link that I provide for them on the bottom, then the company or brand that I worked with will be like, hey, Michelle made this many sales through her link. We will pay her this much amount for doing so, or I'll get like 15% or some sort of percentage of the sales I made. And that's how I make money through affiliate links. But again, I really only do this when I'm really interested in the product or actually want to try the product. Otherwise, I wouldn't really do stuff like that really has no relevancy to my life until I'm just like, okay, well, I could use the money because I'm in a desperate state, but hopefully we don't have to get to that state in life. And lastly is commissions and freelance. Now, I don't really do this one as much anymore, just simply because I don't feel like it aligns with where I want to go. And if I have a full-time job and various projects and stuff running in the background that are already helping me financially, I just don't see the need to put more time into very short-term projects that don't align with where I really want to be at the end of the day. So I would say I would only really do commissions or freelances in situations where I feel like I really need that financial help. And there's nothing wrong with that if you need to do commissions or freelances to help you financially. I'm just saying, if you're at a point in life where you don't really need to be doing that anymore, then great. And it really became more apparent to me after I started working my first full-time job that I felt like I was just wasting my time more by working on these freelances or commissions. I wasn't really in a state where this additional money was really that needed. It was just nice to have, and I was just like, hey, if I could be spending this time on something bigger, like my own interests, that would be more beneficial, I think, on my behalf. And it turns out it was, because without that thought, I wouldn't have started my book, merch, and Etsy, YouTube, all of that other stuff, where I wanted to be able to just stand alone by myself, making money through my own ways and not always relying on doing work for others, because it just became a time sucker. So yeah. So despite the fact that I no longer do commissions or freelances, I do have an exception for sometimes like projects that are reputable and that I can trust, that will help a greater cause or help society move in the right direction. And I just think that's something that we all should be doing, even though I know we're all busy, but if you have the time to, like, why not? I feel like I have a lot to be thankful for in life, so the least I can do sometimes is help for those who are not as fortunate as you. So for example, I'm working on a project right now that I can't really talk much about. Maybe I'll talk about it later this year for a certain cause, and I'm basically using the money that would have been mine, but I'm redirecting it to the cause, because when they first reached out to us, they were just like, would you like to have the money, or would you like us to just donate that money to XYZ cause? And I chose just donate it to the cause because that's the point of this project. I don't know, everyone's situation is different, but for me, I'm in a place where I was like, yeah, just donate it. Like, it's the least that you can do with such a great skill that you have, like art. I feel like there are so many things that wouldn't have happened if it weren't for art, and that's why I get kind of angry when I hear about people thinking that art is not a legitimate career, or it's just a useless major, or it's just
Useless, useless, useless.
The reason why I'm sharing this video and the ways that I've been supporting myself as an artist is because I want to let you all know about an option or a path that exists out there. I'm not saying all of you must follow the way that I supported myself and got through my career. No, like, everybody is different. Everybody has their own way of achieving things in life and doing what they need to do to make ends meet. And I just want to be someone who just provides another option or just a path out there for anyone who might be interested in doing something similar. But again, nobody is going to have the same journey, no one's going to have the same story, but it's good to just know what exists out there so you know your options. Anyway, I'm starting to lose my voice, so I should probably end this video soon. But once again, these are the ways that I make money as an artist. You could always just erase everything and just keep my main job as my only job to make ends meet. But again, I don't want to be in a position in life where I have to only rely on my main job. So I have everything else happening just for myself. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any stories about your side hustles or more suggestions of other ways artists can make money for themselves, please do share in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one. So see you later and stay wholesome, bitches.